Hello, how's it going? Mav here, back again. Going to be checking out some of the stuff I missed yesterday, the Dead Space dev stuff. But now I'm going to go ahead and warn anybody watching this that I'm not going to watch the whole thing because honestly, I just don't have the time for that right now. But I want to go through and take a look at some of the footage from the game and kind of see the early stages of how they said where this game is at, and just kind of get like a overall impression of how it's looking. I've heard a lot of good things. People seem like they're really excited. So Dead Space is something that's on my radar. I was never a big Dead Space guy. It's one of the ones that I missed. I just kind of missed out on the franchise. I tried playing the first one a few times and just kind of didn't click with me. Stopped playing, didn't feel like going back to it. So that's where I left it. And didn't get it because of that. I never got excited about Dead Space 2 or 3. But I'm excited to dive back into this now that there's going to be a remake and give it another chance. And really see what everybody loves about Dead Space. This is not the only game that's never not clicked for me that other people like. So it's just a personal thing. So we're going to see, like, is there something in this early footage that's going to grab me, make me get excited? We'll see. So also want to, when I get done kind of going through this, I'm going to give my impressions on what I just saw, as well as I want to talk a little bit more about the Far Cry stuff that I did have a chance to watch yesterday and that was on the stream. I want to talk a little bit more about that because there's a lot of people talking about that game in like almost a disappointed way. And I'm not saying that they don't have a right to be disappointed, but I want to kind of give my take on where that game is in the franchise and what I'm looking forward to again with that. So I'm going to go ahead and pop up this Dead Space stuff here. So again, like this is one for some reason just never clicked with me before, you know? So I want to like it. This is one that I want to like. Let's see here. I had trouble with this program yesterday. It was a little choppy and but with how I'm doing this today, it may not be as big of a factor. So let's get into this and see what we think. Well, let's see. I want to make sure that I give it full as big as we can right here. Okay. Alrighty, here we go. This is like a little intro sequence they have. Sup, Key? How you doing, dude? Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Now, this is the stuff I don't really want to watch. So we saw that little opening thing here. And I don't want to watch I don't want to watch them talk a lot. I just don't have time for that right now. So we're going to skip. I'm horrible, but I want to skip through and see some more stuff. So we're going to play it here.
So let's get straight into it and talk about the Dead Space remake.
All right, let's get started.
So we're going to dive right in with the classic dark and claustrophobic headbanger hallway. Shown here on the screen is what Dead Space looked like in 2008. Although revolutionary for its time, let's see the design process and how it looks now. Roman and Phil, can you show us more?
But they got some cool people on here.
Actually, one of the first things that we did was
that's Khalif, isn't it?
For the game. So we wanted to recreate with the proxies the full ship, the Ishimura, to recreate it. And then our art team went in and started.
This is pretty cool how they're giving such an early look.
So that we can have a higher fidelity and start seeing what can the game look like on next generation of consoles. So we went in, added details, then started working on the shaders and the materials to try to have that metallic look that we were after, and just like to get the right materials out of the environment. From there, we did like a first pass at lighting to try to get the mood right, because the atmosphere of Dead Space is pretty much on lighting, and then on VFX to try to get like that full picture of what are we after, what are we trying to achieve for the game.
Wow.
And it looks great on a few.
Yo, what's up, Massol? What's up, K-Med?
So what type of engine did you guys use to create this? And what graphics are you
yeah,
for?
I'm skipping the talking stuff, you know. I like seeing this, though, where they actually showing us something. I find it fascinating, like early dev stuff.
High-end graphics, high-end fidelity, and our focus is on lighting, VFX, and just overall audio experience to make sure that we would deliver the right atmosphere, something that was key in the original game.
Yeah, so I know we have a real live functional build currently. Can you bring that up? And this again is a work in progress.
So yes, that's super early. Like it's end of pre-production build. We're just starting production, so it's really far from being done. But one thing we really wanted, and you touched about it, it's really wanted to make sure that we nailed the ambience, and not only the look, the lightings, the VFX, the fog, but also nail that ambience. Give you the feeling that you're in the Ishimura, you're inside those dark corridors. And not only it's in engine, it's actually in game. And here's my boy Isaac. So that rig, that armor, it's not the original, it's a new one, it's still work in progress, it's gonna be improved a lot, but it gives a first taste at Isaac Clarke.
This is really good.
Look, here we are.
Wow.
It's like staying so true.
Looks phenomenal. The smoke.
It looks so good.
Very much what we should be expecting at this point from next generation graphics.
It's really Dead Space, but like you never saw it, I think.
Yeah, it's staying so true to the like
almost 13
original.
years now since the original game came out.
From what I remember, like I didn't play a lot of them.
What exactly is this remake? Can you elaborate on
But
that?
look at the shadowing back there. That's pretty cool.
So one thing that's important for us, and that's why it's for PS5, Xbox Series, or for PC, is that
yeah, I think it's a ways off.
It's not about one thing. Like,
but I hope they give us updates like this every once in a while. I really appreciate that. Like I liked the Far Cry thing yesterday, even though a lot of people aren't as excited about it. I really like that. Just hey, this is the game. You know, I'm really excited about it. But
it's about audio, whether it's improvements to gameplay and having new zero-G, or as you're gonna see maybe later, improvements and dismemberment and how you actually deal damage to the enemies. Whether it's about having an unbroken and continuous experience, it's about doing a lot of improvements and how we enrich that experience. And so that's really what that remake is about.
Yeah, because you know.
Okay, I think there's gonna be a lot. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna skip forward to more game stuff.
Show the stat comparison of the original 2008.
Oh, this is cool.
Versus the current project. Yeah, that's a massive difference. You know, you remember your favorite game in a certain way, and you think that it looks great, but then when you see
this is how you do like a remake, though. You know, like
big difference.
You can tell it's gonna feel better, it's gonna look better, but still keep the same essence of what the game is.
It was only 13 years ago, but it seems like we've gone leaps and bounds where we're able to kind of take all the kind of small details you're seeing on the
Callisto game is made by the original devs, actually. That not like the creators that have formed their own studio, I believe. And
because that is huge shoes to fill. Bars.
I think it's going to probably be a good one too.
It is definitely.
Don't really know how far along it is or anything. I need to research that more.
We're referencing a lot to the original game.
Ooh.
A lot of looks at it.
I want that artwork. That looks like that's badass.
We're looking at different games and what they did.
And another game I'd like to see get this treatment is Fear. I think Fear deserves a full-on reboot.
Example is something that we're trying to do.
They could do so many things with that franchise.
To make the game fully seamless. And how can that create an experience where the players even more immersed within the game than was previously the case?
And it's really one of the big objectives that we have for that game is that from even before the start screen till the end of the game, the rolling credits, to never have any break of experience, to have that full and uninterrupted sequence shot. And so that, of course, has a lot of impact on what we're building. And just starting with how the Ishimura,
there we go. Fear would be great.
the structure of the game is built, because we don't want any cut. So there should be no loading. How do the full ship should be walkable from end to end seamlessly, etc. There's a lot of elements that start to unfold.
Okay, I'm gonna skip forward. Is there any more?
That lens of really
Sorry, guys. I mean, I don't.
Like really from the get-go.
When I have time, I'm gonna go back and like watch all this to hear all the details, because I do appreciate this, but for the sake of this, I want to see stuff right now.
The dev team has created a peeling system that will be implemented into combat. Would
Ooh,
you mind
cool.
telling us more about the original system versus the new system and what peeling actually means?
I think actually something that's very important.
I mean, this is like so true to the original.
It is definitely a gym, and it's intentional that we showcase this in a gym because we're so early with it. Visually, we're not at the right level of quality where we want to achieve, but we want to showcase functionality here. That's what we want to talk about, and what is the system that we have in mind for peeling, like you said.
So obviously, same thing.
It looks like Roblox.
It's a gym. Everything that you see is working.
It's like how they have those like things you stand on to make things happen. It looks like they took like the same formula that like something like Roblox does. It's so funny. Or Fortnite with the creative mode.
Just show its first. Of course, dismemberment is back, and it's back with all the depth and fun you can have in that space. But one thing we want
the gym section.
those are the only things,
yeah.
Those are the things you can say only on Dead Space. One of the thing we wanted to improve about that experience is when you're using a weapon that is not a carving weapon, like something not like the plasma cutter. Plasma cutter is really fun to use. You can just shoot at anything, and really you have that instant feedback of the limb getting cut, etc. But when you had a different weapon, knowing how much damage you were dealing to the enemy,
it really feels like they're just remaking Dead Space. You know what I mean? It's like, I know that sounds simple, but that's what it looks like.
So that's the thing we're working on at the moment, and we call peeling. It's basically that body destruction technology
Nice.
that we're developing that is allowing us to really remove, so at the moment, the flesh out of the bones of the enemy, and to give you a good sense not only of gore and horror and ambience, but also of how much damage am I dealing to that opponent. Is my weapon actually useful?
This is really cool to see like the inside of game dev.
That's something for me that is really interesting. And so when we were speaking about why doing a remake and where can we improve, those are an example of what we can do, is that we don't have anymore to choose which feature we actually want to push. We can have dismemberment. We can have much more precision and body destruction. We can have seamless loading for the whole ship, etc., etc. And that's something really, really interesting for us. And another thing that is actually really interesting is that system. So again, for the moment, it's really early. For the moment, we're only showcasing it on the naked slasher, so you only see it with the flesh, but of course later it's going to support like the claw, body armor, different layers, weak points, etc. But it also improved one of the core of shooting in Dead Space, which is around the precision, and not only the precision of my weapon, but as an example, the precision of the plasma cutter. And so if I was to shoot, let's say, on that leg. Then if I'm shooting here, I'm not going to cut the leg because I'm not shooting at the place where the bone is actually visible. If I want to cut.
Yeah, so they're saying you need to target where the bone's visible.
Precise
okay.
In my aiming and in the shooting. And then for us, what is interesting is that it opened a whole new layer of shooting and combat loop where you can have some weapons that are better at carving through the enemies, some weapons that are better at cleaning them. Oh, sorry for the mic. Some weapons that are better at cleaning the enemy and removing the flesh and the tissue, etc. And that's something really really interesting for us.
Anytime Roman speaks about dismemberment, he gets overly passionate and expressive about it. Even with the team internally.
Okay, scooping forward a little bit.
Essentially. How detailed are we talking here?
Whew.
In terms of the body destruction, the peeling, it's going to be really super detailed, as we can see on that video. So that's the first steps of that technology, if the video is playing, which is not, I think.
I really like the.
Yes, here we go.
I have always really liked the design of the characters in Dead Space.
Where you're aiming, where you're shooting, it's exactly respecting the shape of the projectile at the enemy. If it was fire, you would see it going through the.
That's one of the things I appreciated about it. I like the design of the main character and the enemies.
Is going to be super precise in terms of pure dismemberment, and then where you're able to cut the necromorph's limbs. Here, where we want to improve it.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. I like seeing this stuff.
It was already really deep in terms of gameplay. Like there are different behavior based on whether you were cutting the legs or the head.
This is fraud. Is this so?
So here our goal it's for enemies like.
I don't know what kind of programs they use to do this stuff, but I know this game's being made in Frostbite. So it looks like it's pretty.
To other enemies that tend to be a bit
a lot of options for detail.
Of dismemberment and behavior, like for example the infector or the brute. Like I can't wait to show you when you get behind the brute and you start to peel his back and dig for weak points.
Oh, I can't wait.
That's the type of improvement we're going for.
Get to the weak points.
Yeah, I love the peeling of the different layers of skin down to the organs and bones, especially coming from a medical background. It's just insane to see. The level of expectation is very much up here, and we'll hold you accountable.
One thing that you might have noticed quickly in the prototype, and that's something we want to experience a bit more. We want to dig a bit more. It's when you actually cut a limb, but there's still a layer of flesh.
Okay.
We don't necessarily always want the limb to go out and fly away, and sometimes we keep.
Next
all right, cool.
Where you're thinking about going from an improvement.
All right, more environment stuff. Nice.
About, where you're kind of seeing this move. We see Isaac kind of in the space right now, floating around the space. Probably going to show off some of his thrusters and stuff in a minute. I'd love to hear more about kind of where you're thinking about in terms of improvements in this layer too.
So, for us, really going back to the original Dead Space.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Something that we felt. So again, super early build. That we felt we could actually improve in terms of experience and immersion. It's the 0G and how you would move around in 0G, and that's something that was really good and improving the experience in Dead Space 2 and 3.
It's very it's already very pretty. I know he keeps saying, "Oh, early build," but I really like the art style that they're going. Like, well, I mean, they already had the basis of the art style, but the way that everything's clicking together, it's got a good vibe.
And now you can play Dead Space and really feel.
Can't imagine this when it comes out, what it's going to look like.
And so also that's a mechanic.
And again, the transparency that they have is awesome.
Like for example, now you can interact as you fly around. You can go into tighter corridors, those kind of things. But also, it allows us to revisit some of the old content and create new ways to navigate, new paths. Like here in the original, you would have gone back through that door, through where you came from. And here, it allows us to create new environments.
It's
with
interesting this guy, I'm like,
eventually new challenges to
floating.
surprise also the people that know the game and will be like, oh wait, what's that? What's new? And no, we're gonna surprise you here.
So it's really delivering on the fantasy of being in space, making sure that we're able to use that, and revisiting all the places in the game in the original where there was zero-G, which was the Superman.
What's y'all's favorite
and now applying
Dead Space
360 motion
game?
and finding
If you're
ways
watching
to provide a real challenge
either live
in this
or
type of environment.
after the fact,
so far, there's been very good
put in the
ideas like
comments.
This one about how can we reach reverse
Curious.
through the same
And why?
environment
Why?
and provide something new for the players. So,
What's your favorite and
we're
why?
definitely on the lookout for these opportunities when we revisit each of these gameplay sections.
Love the artwork
For
on
me, in
this.
the original game, that zero-G jump was very disorienting. I don't know if anyone else agrees with this, but it made me very disoriented. So seeing quality of life improvements carried from 2 back into 1 with the thrusters and the movement is incredible. That's a huge improvement as is. You know, it's funny. The community quickly recognized and deciphered the Morse code from the Ishimura in the original reveal that we had.
Yeah.
People figured it out right away.
I remember
From
the
blinking
beginning of that
flashing
quite
lights.
well.
But you know, we didn't see any comments on the subreddit or online about the thrusters on Isaac. There was
Right?
nothing. Where was that? Look
Maybe it
alive,
was too
chat.
subtle,
Like,
but
but yeah.
But no, it's really interesting because then
Okay.
also, like I was mentioning,
Skipping forward.
that mystery about the marker and stuff, all of those
More
core
artwork.
themes of the original.
This is the same
these
shot
are
that I showed
things
earlier.
Not only we really want to continue to have in the game, but that we want to build on top of. The things that we want to enrich in terms of story or narrative, it's really about the bigger universe of Dead Space. We want
to hear your feedback, hear your thoughts. So
to be amazed and
Yes.
proud of everything the team is doing. Like, it's one of the most amazing team I've worked with, and I want to thank them again and again for everything.
Well, it seems like
and not only because
the game's in a good place right now.
It's amazing, but also because it's really difficult time for building all of these things.
All right, guys. So, like I said early on, I'm skipping through a lot of stuff. Overall impression time for this, because there's no more footage. They showed all the footage that they were going to show. So I am going to close out of that, and we're just going to talk about it now. So overall, really impressive stuff. Looks like the game is looking great for being there so early on. For early in development, it's just like great transparency there, showing it looks like a true staying true to the original, right? A true remake, keeping all the important things there is what it seems like the direction is. And it looks like they're going like what their target is with the character. And that opening shot walking through looks like absolutely beautiful. So I'm impressed. I'm definitely more interested in this even than I was before because of this. So that's what their goal was, probably, to drive awareness and get people updates. I think it worked. I think they're doing a great job. Now, as I said before, I wanted to give some more thoughts on the Far Cry stuff we saw yesterday on my stream. So I've been seeing a lot of like non-excitement over Far Cry 6, basically because people are saying, well, it's more Far Cry. And I just want to comment on some of that a little bit, because I feel like for me, it's okay that it's just more Far Cry. That's what I want. Now, maybe some people that don't like Far Cry or aren't as into Far Cry, maybe they don't want more. They want to see it change, right? Now I understand it's not like the most visually like wow game, right? But it has a lot of beauty in it, in the world that they created from like the artist and stuff. Graphically, yeah, it's not like gonna blow your socks off. But what they chose to put the resources in is making it the best Far Cry game. And that was with putting so much stuff in the world. It is the densest Far Cry, and they also took it back to the tropical setting. It looks like it's the Far Cry playground amped up with just more stuff, more of everything, because they have the ability to put more in the game. And I think that's okay. Like, not everything has to be different. You don't have to, like, change so much to where it becomes something else. Sometimes it's okay for franchises to be what they are. I saw somebody also said, just same old Ubisoft open world formula. Well, Far Cry was the creator of that formula. Like Far Cry, that the reason they went to it in all their other games was because of Far Cry. I don't think every game needs to be Far Cry. In fact, what I'm saying about Far Cry is the same thing I would say about the other franchises that I get upset about with Ubisoft and other creators. You don't need to make everything something else just because one thing is successful. People become fans of these brands for what they are. For example, the Clancy brand. We need more true Clancy games coming. We need a true Assassin's Creed game coming. We need true Far Cry games. We need Ghost Recon to get back to being Ghost Recon. Ghost Recon they tried to turn into Far Cry and other things by making it open and all these not everything has to be something else just because that other thing is successful. And to say that Far Cry is it's the same old formula, well that the reason that is that formula is because that's the one that created the formula. The open world first person shooter that was made by Crytek back in the day for Ubisoft. That was the first one to really do it like that. And that's why it was so successful. Crytek went on to make Crysis after they Ubisoft bought the rights to Far Cry. I just really am super happy about the direction that it's going. Super happy that they chose to make it a fun, big Far Cry game. And I think as long as it plays well and it's Far Cry and it's like, I'm okay with that. And I hope it sells. I hope people aren't looking for it to be the next something else instead of Far Cry. Because if people are looking for all these games to be other things, then they're never going to be satisfied. If it's not for you, Far Cry, then hey, you know what? That's fine. But there's a lot of people that are really excited about this game, and I feel like it looks like they nailed it to me. I wasn't as sold on it, to be honest. I'm so well for the truth is I'll be sold on it because it's Far Cry, but as far as like what they were doing with the direction, I hadn't seen enough to be like, hey, they're on the right path, even though I knew I was going to like it anyway. But after what I saw yesterday with the long hour of just, this is what it is. It's Far Cry. Everybody take a look at our game for an hour. They sat there and they played through Far Cry. They showed clips of gameplay of Far Cry just unapologetically. This is Far Cry and it's running on the Xbox Series X and here's the gameplay. Wow, how refreshing was that? Can we get more of that from game devs and from publishers and game companies to be that transparent and not afraid to show your game off and have fun doing it? That was one of the best things I've seen from a game before it comes out, just especially for an established franchise, to just sit there, show off the game, and it's unapologetically Far Cry. and they just go forward and be like, hey, yeah, if you're like Far Cry, you're gonna like this because it's more of it, and it's got more of this, and look at this, it's got this and this and this. Like that's what that's what I watched yesterday, and it has me so much more even excited than I was, because that game is jam packed full of stuff. It is going to be a complete, total blast. Worth the gameplay looks like it's going to be so much fun, and I think that is what I want from game devs. Now, you can make the most visually appealing thing, but if it's not fun, it doesn't matter. This is where they chose to put their resources, and I'm happy with that because Far Cry is about the gameplay. So that's what I wanted to say about Far Cry. Also, we watched this Dead Space stuff. It was really cool to see that early of development on with this footage that they're showing. I hope I broke it down into a shorter time span for you guys to intake this to see where the game is with me. It was fun to do this. So shout out to anybody in the chat who's showed up for this, and on short notice, I just kind of went live with it, and then going to be streaming something probably in a little while. Got to run a few errands, get some stuff done. Gonna come back. I think I'm gonna play Song of Iron. I've been wanting to get to it, so look for that later. And I appreciate all you guys. Super do. All right, you have a good one. Thank you, K-Med Key, Masshole, everybody here, and all the speculators and channel members. Appreciate you, and everybody as well. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.